continues to be normal.
The chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, roll, Atlantic.
Water towers can fly! Yes!
Ego down to nominal.
Flight outside SCE off. Bring in SCE off.
Yikes. You bet.
Concur.
We don't need any more of these.
All right, folks. You may be wondering, SWOT's launching this morning. Well, the answer is SWOT is launching this morning. It's time for another NASA Space Flight stream. John Galloway with NASA Space Flight here. Got live views coming from Vandenberg, SLC-4E out at the Vandenberg Space Force Base. Jack and who else? Michael. Yeah, they're both out there freezing last I heard, but they are ready to see what we can see for this launch. Amazingly, we can see the rocket. These are some close-in views we're getting from NASA, but we've also got visual on the rocket from across the way. This is actually Jack's camera over there. So give me some 5x5s in chat and let me know that you can hear us just fine. Yeah, that's right. No, it's actually Vandenberg. I know, it's weird. There's no fog. And then we will get into introducing the rest of the team here this morning, early in the morning. Again, out from Vandenberg Space Force Base. There's a lot of 5x5s. So with me today, I will have some friends doing some commentary on the live stream, starting with Mr. Alejandro Alcantarilla Romera. Alex, how you doing so early in the morning, or noon your time, or whatever time it is?
Well, it's a little bit afternoon here. I'm okay. I just slept too very little, to be honest. But nice to see. You know, it's a launch out of Vandenberg, and we actually see the rocket. That's a plus. That's a nice thing to have today. And it's actually the first one in about 34 hours. We'll see if that sticks.
34 hours. It's been so long since we've seen something happen.
No, well, I meant that there's going to be 3 launches in 34 hours.
Oh, geez.
Well,
and
that's the hope, at least.
That's the hope. We'll see how it goes. Hey, also here joining us, a rare appearance. Hope the fan club is ready. Miss Alicia Siegel. Our friend from Intrepid Museum is here. How you doing this morning, Alicia?
What's up? Yeah, I guess it's like a unicorn appearance. Look at me. Hi. And also a kind of a rare occurrence here, another rare appearance that we can see a rocket at Vandenberg, like you were saying. So excited to be here this morning. Hello, everyone.
All right. Alicia will be helping us answer some questions about the SWOT mission, including what SWOT stands for. And we've got one more person helping us out with the Q&A this morning, Mr. Sawyer Rosenstein. Sawyer, how you doing so early in the morning? Oh, not too well, I guess.
Oh, I am doing fantastic. Sorry
there
about
we
that. It is early, yes, and I am quite tired, but there's a rocket on the launch pad ready to lift off, and that will wake anybody up. So I got my rocket fuel right on screen.
All right, excellent. So thank you so much for rolling out. Sawyer's over on the East Coast. Like, I guess Alicia, Sawyer, and I are all on the East Coast, so waking up early this morning to bring you this launch coverage. Hey, also remember, I mentioned out in the field, we've got Mr. Jack Beyer. He's running this camera that you see right now. He may pop in and do some hee-haw style commentary. Jack, we got you around?
I like how you always describe it like that. I think it's been 2 or 3 years now. That's always how you describe it, where I just like, I bust through a wall, or like I open up a window on the barn
a little
door.
window,
like,
yeah.
You know what? Vandenberg isn't that foggy. It's just a myth perpetrated by Big Florida. And then I go away and operate cameras. So yeah, I'll go do that. But yeah, excited for a launch tonight. Excited to see the rocket. There is some cloud cover. Like I can see the moon, but it's not crystal clear. So hopefully we'll get a nice looking launch. Maybe we get some cloud action. You know, like Howard Hughes style. Like we need depth. Wait till there's clouds. You know, that whole thing. Anyways. Woo!
Well, you better not talk too loud because the Marine layer can hear you, and there's 25 minutes before the launch here. So, Jack, thank you so much for rolling out. Also in the field, operating one of the cool computer vision, AI-trained, whatever the heck he's calling it these days, tracking cameras, Mr. Michael Baylor is out there as well. Is he in a Abuelo mode right now? Like under the covers, hiding so he can see his screen, trying to stay warm? I'm almost positive he is.
He's frantically setting up a camera.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good too. We like cameras.
Maybe not
Any-
frantically. He is very professionally and carefully setting up a camera.
Gotcha. So, folks, as we do, we're going to be doing live Q&A. If you've got questions for us, tag us in chat. Mr. Sawyer is going to be pulling some of those questions out of chat this morning. And let's talk about the current status here to start. T-minus 25 minutes. Alex, I know you were listening in to the launch net. How are things looking? Have we gotten a go from anybody important?
Yeah, so we had 10 minutes ago, well, about 12 minutes ago, we had a go from SpaceX and NASA to go ahead with propellant load, and we're right now seeing that propellant load, some of the vapors outside of the rocket as well. Currently loading RP1 on both stages and liquid oxygen on the first stage. But soon, the RP1 load on the second stage is going to wrap up. That's about the T-minus 20 minute time, and that's when we're going to see the usual T-minus 20 minute vent. And right now that's sort of the status here of the countdown. The SWOT spacecraft went into internal power at about T-minus 45 minutes, and all seems to go well for liftoff. They said today on the NASA stream that weather was 100% go as well. So,
oh my gosh,
perfect weather.
We have to stop jinxing this. Jack's talking about how you can see the rocket. You just said it's 100% go for weather. There's no way this thing is launching in 23 minutes. It's just not going to work out. I made a little bit of a joke at the beginning about SWOT's launching this morning. It's SWOT is the name of the mission. I actually put it in the ticker so I could read it and act like I knew what that stood for. It's the Surface Water and Ocean Topography mission for NASA. And I think, Alicia, you had a little bit of information on what the heck that actually means.
Oh, yeah. So this is a really special, really important mission that is going to be affecting everyone worldwide, which is so, so great. It is an international mission. So this is a combination of JPL. This is also the French Space Agency, CNES. I'm not going to try to even read the French, the wording of that. Also the Canadian Space Agency and the UK Space Agency. And what is really so special about that is that it's going to be the first global survey of surface water, which is significant because water is, of course, essential to everyone, right? And we're not just talking about oceans here. This is the first time they're actually going to be able to take a really good close look at inland water resources. So things like lakes and rivers and reservoirs. And right now, researchers have very limited information on sites like that. They have to rely on, gauges in rivers and just, not too many lakes really across the world. In the ocean, they really only have limited data based on more narrow tracts of Earth with satellites. So this is going to revolutionize the fields of oceanography and hydrology. We are going to have a much better understanding of where water is, where it was, where it's going, to be better, able to analyze the impacts of things like global warming and climate change. We are going to be able to see water circulation along our coastlines and the way that it flows in rivers, with an eye towards potential environmental impacts. And even things like storage in lakes and in reservoirs, which ultimately are going to help resource managers make better decisions about how to support their communities and also, do things like prepare for and respond to major disasters as well. So big deal, guys. This is definitely something NASA has their eye on right now, as should everyone around the world. We are going to be able to see the results of this probably, within about a year or so, and then it's going to really impact us long term. So thanks for tuning in.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. So again, y'all, this satellite's going to be going up into space. That's sort of what satellites tend to do. And observing the Earth, looking at water, I guess surface water levels, how things sort of interact with water, just more ways that we can understand. I mean, I was going to say the percentage of Earth that was covered in water, and then I was like, wait, how much is it? 70-something? I didn't remember. I'm sure somebody can tell me that. But it is a water observation satellite.
What I can tell you is if the satellite doesn't go to space, it's generally considered a bad day.
It is. We're not doing that because it's not going to launch. Somebody said 100% weather, and you said we could see it. So we'll just get comfortable. Let's see if we get this T-minus 20-minute vent. And we'll turn to Sawyer really quickly and see if we have some questions from the chat, Sawyer.
Yes, we absolutely do. Thank you, Das. We will start with this one from Amiga Clone, who is asking, is this an RTLS launch, a return to launch site? So, Alex, do you mind taking us through which booster this is, its history, and where we can expect to see this booster land?
Yeah, so this booster is B1071, and I'm just hearing stage 2 RP1 load is complete, so we should be seeing that Team Tournament event right around now, I guess. I'm not seeing it, but sometimes, yeah, it's a sneaky. There you go. There you go. The booster is B1071. It's a Vandy booster nowadays. It's on its 6th launch today, and it's pretty much done all Vandenberg launches. Today it is landing back at LC4, about 400 meters away from the launch site, which is kind of crazy, to be honest, that it is so close to the launch site. But hey, eventually we'll see Starship doing even much closer. So yeah, and this is actually of the 6 launches that we will do by the end of today's launch. This will be, I think its 4th landing back on LC4. I think that is the most RTLS missions for a booster, or at least for the same pad or something like that. Like, I haven't really properly checked that out, sorry, but off the top of my head, I believe that is a record as well for a booster. So yeah, it is totally an RTLS launch. So if you are in California or near the launch site, be sure to check that out for those sonic booms of the returning booster.
Absolutely, which along those lines, I did see a few people asking, for those who are along California, what is the path that this rocket is going to take once it lifts off?
Oh yeah, that's a really weird launch path that they have. If you were just to launch directly into the orbit that they're going today, the launch will be southeast. But the fact is that both Launch Hazard Zones and NASA have basically have confirmed that this is not going to the southeast. It's going first southwest out of Vandenberg with the first stage, and then the second stage will perform a massive dogleg maneuver to go into the orbital plane to the southeast. So it's going to go first to the southwest, and then again a massive 90-degree turn all the way to the southeast to go into that 77.6 degree inclination orbit, sort of the target of today's launch, which is it's counterintuitive, but apparently it's due to the debris field risk downrange to the south. Sometimes we've seen them do some silly things like this to avoid the ULA pads on the south for the Delta and things like that. But I believe the only launch pad to the south of SpaceX's one is Slick 6, and it's not being used anymore. So I'm not really sure what it's the full reasoning. They talk about the debris field risk in case of an anomaly or something during launch. But it all comes down to whatever they pleased to do here. Whatever they thought it was better. They said they had plenty of performance to do that dogleg while returning back to land. So hey, if that's what they wanted to do, it's okay. Just
Exactly.
a little bit sad for the folks in California because it's not going to be hugging the coast for them. So yeah.
Yeah, but I think the people in Los Angeles would rather not be able to see it than have it accidentally fall on top of their house.
That would be
Yeah,
a plus.
just hearing right now that stage 2 Lux load has started. I believe that feed, the close-up feed, is a little bit more delayed than the view
Yes,
from
it
Jack.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a feed from NASA, and it's got some pretty significant delay on it. So it may be the launch so nice we see it twice. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yep, I've got a question here, Elisa. Alicia, you might be able to take this one.
Sure.
So they were saying that NASA was talking about water being a diminishing resource, but how can that be? So what are we basically going to be using the spacecraft for in terms of checking water resources here on Earth?
Sure. Okay, with global warming, right, really what's happening is we have circulation of water being affected. So when the water heats up, it actually does sometimes increase the amount of water in certain areas, but it also is amplifying the effects of climate change in other places. So in areas that you have, droughts, right, you're going to see even more specific, more impactful droughts. Things are going to get hotter and drier over time in those areas. So the water is just kind of like moving around in different areas, which isn't great for allocating resources where it needs to go. So what this is going to be studying then is where the water is shifting to and how we can best, make plans in order to reallocate it to areas where it really needs to go. And again, this is going to be something over time. It's not going to happen immediately. Obviously, it's not going to solve climate change or anything like that, but it definitely is going to be important to making the steps that we have to take, taking those steps in order to put the information in the right people's hands for it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's about having the right tools to be able to address the problem properly and figure out where we're at and what we can do to protect our planet.
Hmm.
We also have a few super chats. I will hit those really quick while we have a second here. So Westy the Third with the contribution to the NSF Coffee Fund. Thank you very much. And then the Law asking, what do you think the impact of Rocket Lab launching from Wallops, including Neutron, will be in terms of competitive advantage over Falcon 9, which, for those who don't know, that is scheduled to launch now Sunday this weekend. It is called Virginia is for Launch Lovers. But just we'll go quickly off track for that launch before heading back to SWOT. Alex, you maybe want to weigh in on that?
Can you repeat the question? I don't see it on the ticker, by the way.
It should be. There it goes.
Oh, there we go.
It was asking if you think
Oh,
Rocket
yeah.
Lab's Wallops launches will now have an impact here with all these Falcon launches.
Yeah, I just like heard the last part of the question, so I was like a little bit confused. Yeah, that's. I mean, there's probably not gonna be an impact per se because it's like different markets that they're targeting. It's true that Neutron will have some overlap though. There's gonna be some overlap in the sense of launching mega constellations. That's sort of the deal that Rocket Lab is going for with Neutron. That it's like in the 8-ton category of lifting into low Earth orbit. So they will be able to sort of launch these satellite constellation missions. Example for that is the OneWeb constellation. We saw a few weeks ago SpaceX launched the OneWeb, a batch of OneWeb satellites, and that actually was about 6 tons. So Neutron will have been able to launch those in terms of payload performance itself. So they're targeting that kind of thing, but again, this is not coming until 2024, 2025. So I don't see there's going to be a lot of risk. I think they're probably like hoping there's a market for everyone in this sense, rather than they're stealing launches from each other.
Makes sense. So I know we haven't seen much about this yet, but normally when you hear someone talking about a Karen, it's a bad thing. But I believe on this mission, if we're talking about a Karen, it's a good thing because it's actually a scientific instrument. Alicia, do you mind introducing us to Karen?
Yeah, Karen is very important for this. All right, so just to kind of explain what Karen is, it's spelled Karin, and it's the type of radar that's going to be used on SWOT. So we know that radar transmits a signal, it bounces off the Earth, and it measures the time goes down to Earth and then back again. So this is the Ka band type radar, and it's going to be an interferometer. So that means it's got 2 antennas on either side of the main bus there, and that's actually what makes this so special. When the signal bounces back, it's actually received by those 2 antennas, and it measures the relative phase between the two. So the Ka band, first of all, the frequency is 35 gigahertz. It's at the microwave end of the electromagnetic spectrum. So it can actually penetrate cloud cover and the darkness of night, which makes it really, really helpful for something like this. And it can take measurements regardless of the time of day and the weather, with an accuracy of up to about a centimeter. But this now, again, is really special. It's an interferometer. It's never been done before with 2 like that. And we're going to have about 10 times the resolution of anything we've had before with our images. A lot of scientists are saying it's kind of like, Hubble versus Webb, or Hubble to Webb, right? So, it's a little blurry. But then, you put on your glasses and you can see so much clearer. So this is going to be really, really huge.
Excellent.
That was a great part of the mission.
We're still
Glad you were
here.
able to
Yeah.
explain it. Yep. We were just working on the robots there as we approach about 10 minutes until liftoff here of SWOT. Again, you are looking at the Falcon 9 currently on the launch pad at Vandenberg Space Force Base, Space Launch Complex 4 East there. This mission will, as we just mentioned, lift off, and then the first stage will land back on land just a few hundred meters away at Landing Zone 4 at Vandenberg. There's another question here that I think, Alex, this one's going to be perfect for you, because it is a good question. Chad D asking, why didn't they just launch from the Cape if they have to go southeast anyway with this trajectory?
That's a good question. So, the reasoning usually comes down to what they want to. So there are two reasons here. The first one is the 77.6 degree inclination orbit. Will mean that they will have to overfly Bahamas from the Cape, or doing another like super weird dogleg maneuver. And the second one, sometimes NASA actually wants these missions to go from Vandenberg to declutter some of the Florida launches as well. And SpaceX also kind of prefers that as well. Like they even have sent Starlink missions from here that they could easily launch from the Cape, but they launched them from Vandenberg because it's like we have that launch pad there, collecting dust. Why don't we use it? We can launch it either way, right? It's like we can do it anyways. And Florida is so busy right now, so we can do it from here as well. And back when this mission was awarded to SpaceX, that was like in the time after AMO 6. That was November 2016, between the return to launch flight of Falcon 9 after AMO 6 and after AMO 6. It was quite weird. And back then, there was no polar south corridor or any of that. Like there was no southeast trajectory launches from the Cape. So it was like totally different in that sense. They could obviously change it. That is not out of the question. But yeah, it all comes down to those two main reasons, that declutter, and just because sometimes NASA wants to do it from here, and that from the Cape it will also need to have another dogleg maneuver. So it's kind of the same.
There you go. And we are coming up now on T-minus 7 minutes until liftoff. That is an important milestone as well, as that is when the Falcon 9 will begin its engine chill. So that's running the super cool, super help me, Alex. Brain
Propellant.
just died.
Super
Thank you.
cool.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah, liquid oxygen through the turbo pumps on the Merlin engines.
Yes,
It's funny because I was ready to unmute and yell about the Southern Polar Corridor, but instead I was actually able to be helpful. So yay, propellant.
Say something useful. Nice. Thanks, Jack.
Yeah.
Side note: boo, Southern Polar Corridor, boo.
Oh my gosh,
There we
here we
go.
go again.
All right. There we go. Again, that prevents the engines, or prepares the engines for the shock that they will experience as they start getting the fuel running through them about a few seconds before liftoff. Which, speaking of that, shall we go through the next steps that we'll be seeing in the countdown as we get that much closer to liftoff?
Yeah,
Sounds good
so
to me.
we should be going into RP1 load completion on the first stage, and then they're gonna keep loading propellant on the second stage. They're gonna keep loading that liquid oxygen on both stages. And I'm kind of looking here at the status of things. I think everything is proceeding. Engine chill is underway as well. Yeah, so Stromberg is going to be retracting in about 2 minutes or so. And here it's a little bit different than the Florida launch pads, because in Florida launch pads, you see just like a slight retraction of the transporter rector. But this one is kind of old style, where it retracts to launch position. Just heard RP1 load is complete on the stage 1. So here it retracts to the launch position at T-minus 4 minutes. So it's like it's not okay. It's not the throwback maneuver that they do at Florida. Okay,
Yep.
there we go.
You still,
And
you still good, Alex?
yeah, I'm still good. I'm kind of looking at things here. Yeah,
Alex, I'm used to you talking for 15 minutes, not quite
I'm
Philip's loss
sorry.
level of information, but when you trail off after giving one concise answer, I'm like, wait, is there more? Certainly
Yeah,
there's
because
more.
That's why I
I'm
asked
listening
too.
into the calls. I'm really sorry. Yeah,
No, it's all good.
they completed just now the RP1 load on the first stage. They're going to be preparing for tanks pressing for stromback retract. That top clamp is going to open and the stromback will retract to the launch position, unlike the Florida launch pads, as I was saying. Then they're going to wrap up liquefaction load on both stages. And they're going to go into the usual, startup sequence and things like that. We can talk a little bit more about that once closer to that. But we shall be coming up on that stromback retraction anytime soon.
Exactly. And as you mentioned, it's a very good thing to point out that it is different from any of the Cape ones in that you will not see it move any further after it finishes retracting at T-minus 4 minutes. So reminder, things are going to start getting really busy as we get into this quicker part of the count. The big milestone that will be coming up at T-minus 1 minute will be when the Falcon 9 is at startup. That's when the onboard flight computers take control of the launch, and that's when they'll also pressurize the tanks for flight. In the meantime, they are pressurizing these tanks for the strongback retract, as you just heard.
There go the top clamp.
Yep, just underneath the fairings, the nose cones there.
Yep.
A little pincher right there, right?
Pincher, I hardly knew her. Yes,
And
that is
there
correct.
goes the retract.
All right,
Right
with
on
that,
schedule.
with that terrible joke, I'm going to jump off and man the cameras or crew the cameras here. So I will see you guys on the flip side. Hopefully, we get a good launch here.
All right, enjoy, Jack.
Nice.
Have a great one. Looking forward to hearing your reaction after.
One thing that I would like to mention today, if they actually stake all 3 launches in those 34 hours, that's going to be a record. The previous record was 3 launches in 36 hours and 18 minutes with the Starlink 419, SAR-1, and Global Star missions. And then, so this will be 33 hours and 46 minutes with SWOT, O3B, and Starlink 437. But let's not get ahead of that. And let's wait for this to launch first. Stage 1 LUX load is complete, by the way.
All right. And again, the stuff that you're seeing pouring around the outside of the vehicle that is venting, that is completely normal.
Look at that.
Not completely
Hubble.
normal.
All right. All of a sudden, here, let's get over here.
There we go. But yes, those little wisps that you were seeing, that is venting of the super chilled liquid oxygen. So that was completely normal. We expect to see that. We don't expect to see a random Hubble Space Telescope.
It's like now it's showing things about reaction wheels. Like suddenly at T-minus 3 minutes, they change off of the clean feed that they were giving us from the pad.
There we go.
God.
NASA just gave their go for launch, so the spacecraft side is ready.
Oh, neat.
We can still see
Typical
it.
of NASA, to
Hooray!
be honest.
Yep. All right.
Okay, range is green.
Everything looking good. Again, folks, if you're just joining us, we know it's early in the morning, but there's almost 5,000 of you watching. In the intervening 1 minute and 45 seconds, why don't you tell us where you're watching from? It's going to be the launch of SWOT, the Surface Water and Ocean Topography mission for NASA on a SpaceX Falcon 9. This is out of Vandenberg Space Force Base. SLC-4E out there this morning. Early in the morning for a launch. But let me know where you're watching from. I saw NASA did a tweet about that, and maybe we can help them out, see where people are coming. But now, down to 1:20.
Yep, seeing
everything
Germany,
looking
Netherlands, Spain. And it's great because, again, this is an international mission as
I'm
well.
from Spain
SWOT
as well.
is a partnership with NASA as well as
CNES.
Yes, CNES, which is over in France,
Agency,
UK
we got
Space
the
Agency.
UK, Canada, yep, all of them.
Yes, thank you,
A lot of
Alyssa.
bodies of water over there.
Falcon 9 at this point should now be in startup. Again, the onboard
It is
computers
indeed.
taking control.
I just
All
heard a
right.
call out. Falcon 9 is start up.
So we are going to bring up the field microphone there. It'll take a little bit of time for the audio to get across. There's literally a valley between the cameras and our microphones here, so it'll take a little bit of time to get there. We'll bring up that field mic. There are some other people around the mic today, so you may hear some voices. Don't fret. We know them. They're nice. But here we go. T-minus 27, 26
launch.
seconds.
Everything is go. Again, the engines will ignite about 3 seconds before the actual liftoff itself, so be prepared for the flash and the movement. There we go. We have ignition and liftoff of SWOT, keeping an eye on our planet's waters to help better protect our future. And it has cleared the tower.
The sound is coming towards us.
Oh, get some really good crackles on that one. Vehicle now passing max Q, maximum dynamic pressure on the vehicle.
And both Jack and Michael still, both of them are tracking it. Here's Michael's camera. You can see the exhaust spreading out there. That exhaust plume expansion as the atmosphere gets thinner.
Is that auto track from
Yeah,
Michael?
it looked like auto track to me.
Wow. Yeah, oh, look at the engine spread out with the thinner atmosphere. You can see all 9 Merlin 1D engines doing their job.
Yep.
Which they will be doing their main job of providing the first stage ascent for just a couple more seconds. We are about 15-ish seconds away from main edge cutoff, followed by the first and second stages separating, and then the second stage starting its engine, SES-1.
It's still there as a pixel. Let's see here. There's the rocket cam, but this may have a little bit of delay to it.
Separation confirmed.
There we go. You heard the callouts for main engine cutoff.
We heard that call out, and this video coming from NASA is going to be a little bit delayed here, so. Or a lot delayed. Jeez,
Yeah.
NASA.
That boost back startup is the first stage reorienting itself so that it can turn around and land back
There we
at
go.
LZ4 at
It's
Vandenberg.
always crazy how it does the flip.
Yeah.
It's really fast.
Oh yeah, I'd be flipping out if I had to do that too.
Oh my god.
Thank you, Sawyer.
You're welcome.
The Falcon Nebula.
Oh,
Look
beautiful.
at that.
Oh.
That's the Falcon Nebula from the booster, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
That is crazy.
Cameras
That is
just
always
get
crazy.
better and better. It is wild, some of these shots.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, fairing separation.
Wow.
For those who don't know, what is that nebula?
Exhaust interacting. That looked like a fairing deploy.
That
Yep.
was. Yep, SWOT is now exposed to space.
Oh, shut down.
That
The
is
odd-
the Merlin vacuum engine glowing there. That is the engine powering that second stage.
And now the second stage should be doing its dogleg maneuver to.
Yeah, and we're getting that
validating-
those audio callouts sort of on the side. So they're coming through our microphone out there. They're not going to exactly match us, but I'm leaving them on because sonic booms. We don't want to miss the sonic boom, so I'm leaving that microphone online.
Oh yes. So the next major milestone in terms of the return of the first stage will be the first stage entry burn, which will happen a little over 6 minutes into flight, so about 2-ish minutes from now. That will help slow it down as it re-enters Earth's atmosphere. So far, everything appears to be on track, on target, and looking good. So a reminder, there are 2 burns to complete that landing. The first one is the entry burn to help basically use fire to slow itself down through the atmosphere. And then there's the actual landing burn itself, which will happen a little after 7 minutes into flight. And that will take about 30 seconds for it to use those engines to slow itself down and steer it, hopefully, to a perfect touchdown where X marks the spot at LZ4.
And we've got those cameras waiting for it to come back down out of that cloud layer. And as soon as we see that, we'll see what we can see of the landing.
Meantime, this upper stage here, the MVAC engine, has about 3 more minutes worth of burns to get it into its parking orbit. So we should hopefully get a view of the booster itself again soon for that entry burn slowdown. So one's trying to slow down, you got the other one speeding up. I love the contrast.
We should be coming up on that entry burn in about 15 minutes. Not 15 minutes, 15
Wow.
seconds. Now 10 seconds, because I messed up there on the timing. Jeez. I was seeing the T+5 on the clock that we have, T+6 now. At least by the SpaceX timeline that they have on their website, should be already doing that entry burn.
Michael's got it. There's the entry burn.
There we go. Beautiful.
And that's going to shut down and drop through the darkness towards the landing pad.
All right. Flight termination system is safe, and we should be less than a minute away now from the next and final ignition of that first stage, again, which will result in the landing. So we will keep an ear out for the sonic booms and watch for it to slow down, have the landing legs deploy, and hopefully touch down. And you may be able to see the grid fins, those little waffle-like things, if we get that view, occasionally moving, which is normal as it steers itself through the atmosphere. And now I'm hungry for waffles.
Thank you. It is almost breakfast time.
Yes. Anyway, should be getting to the meat of the RTLS right about now, so we'll keep an eye out. There it is.
Look at that. That's the auto track.
Keeping an ear out for sonic booms.
Landing like a plane. Stage 1 landing.
Wow.
Nice.
They never don't surprise me, you know? Like, I know they're coming, and then it's just like gunshots. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, you understand that they're going to be happening in every single time. Just Vandenberg, especially, they like happen right at the same time that you start to get the engine, the landing noise as well. So there you have it. That looks like the outline of a Falcon 9 that has successfully landed on the LZ right across the valley at Vandenberg.
Yes, that looked and sounded absolutely phenomenal there, too, with the sonic booms as it breaks through the speed of sound there and the delay from it, because, again, light traveling faster than sound. Oh, that does not get old, ever.
Now, still, the second stage is continuing its way on, T+8.5, actually 8 minutes 40 seconds now, and we still have a little bit of ways to go before SECO. So even though it's awesome to see the boosters come back and land, especially hear them come back and land, we still have mission
Actually,
left.
we should have SECO 1. There we go.
You can see there the dogleg maneuver. That is crazy.
Look at that.
Well, how
Wow.
about that?
What'd you think, Jack?
That was a pretty westerly launch. definitely a little bit of something different for SWOT, but that was super cool to see. And as usual, even though I was ready and waiting for the sonic booms, I still jumped like a scared person when it happened. I don't know if you were on my feed when it happened, but there's a noticeable jerk in the camera as it happened. I was like, oh god, okay, no, we're good, everything's fine.
Excellent. Well, Jack, if we're waiting to see, we still have a couple more things. What's the timing on these next two burns here? Alex, do we have that? Or
You mean the second stage? Yeah, I have the timeline in front of me if you want to.
Yeah, NASA has one of those, Windows 98 style loading bars here where it's like Seco 1, and then all of a sudden it's SES 2. It doesn't tell me exactly how long it's going to be. But Jack, if we could keep your camera for just a second while Michael packs up that tracking bot.
Yeah, the actual time will be a T plus 43 minutes and 22 seconds.
Yeah, so we have
really
quite
short
a bit of time.
5-second burn. Yeah, it's a long time from now.
They're dropping it off at 850 kilometers with an inclination of 77.6 degrees, if anyone was keeping track.
There you go.
And this is actually because the first 6 months of SWOT is the calibration time. So they are going to be making sure everything extends properly. They've got solar panels and those antennas. They're going to be making sure that everything is all calibrated properly. And then after those 6 months, they're going to actually boost it up to 891 kilometers. And that is when it's actually going to start doing its science phase, which will go for about 3.5 years or however long after that it wants to keep staying alive up there.
Outstanding.
Nice.
Yeah. It needs to calibrate and understand water is wet first, and then we'll get the science.
A little more than that, but yeah.
Teach the satellite that water is wet. Nice.
It's definitely more complicated than that.
Well, I'm not sure if we're going to get, because that the next burn is so far in the future, I'm not sure we're going to get any more video from the second stage itself. That SpaceX downlink scene we saw indicated that we had lost that video. This is Jack's camera. I think he's a little cold because it's shaking. We're probably packing things up. But that is, I think, the last of the camera feeds we have available this evening, folks. I do want to say thank you all so much for coming and hanging out with us. Did we miss any super chats or anything like that? Let's make sure we didn't miss anything.
We have one super chat that we missed so far.
Okay, well, let's make sure we get that one.
Yep, Drew Narsaritis asking, was the inside of the inner stage sooty on this mission?
Oh, I didn't see. I mean, did anybody see while we were looking at the inner stage?
I could check it, I guess.
I didn't. We'd have to scroll back and see. I didn't notice the inner
Yeah,
stage,
there
but I
was
was
some,
The
it was
inside, yeah.
some sooty, or maybe it was scorched or something like that.
Yeah, probably
Not
sooty
really
scorch
sure.
marks, combination thereof.
It's done a lot of RTLS missions, and those get a lot of scorch in the interstage because of the the boost back burn. They have to flip back and everything. So yeah.
Yeah,
I
and a
could
reminder,
see
those
that.
are carbon-based fuels. So as it lights its engines, it's going through its own cloud and basically gets covered in all that soot. So that's why all of the Falcon 9s look so sooty.
Yeah,
Indeed.
I don't know if we're going to see much more of the rocket here, y'all. It's dark over there right now, but I did want to make sure that we got the rest of the super chats. Hey, also, if you are looking for ways to support the stream, you don't just have to super chat, just showing up to the stream is a good way to support what we do. But if you're looking for something, like you need to know what date it is or something along those lines, you can head on over to shop.nasaspaceflight.com. We've got some calendars still available. I think we're just past the cutoff for the Christmas shipping. It depends on where you are as to whether or not that'll arrive in time for Christmas. But either way, hey, it could be a New Year's. I mean, you don't need a calendar until January 1st. So who cares if it arrives in time for Christmas? It is a great way to support what we do. 2 different versions, a Starbase-centric one for the folks who love Starbase and Starship, and a NASA Spaceflight calendar that has all sorts of different imagery from all sorts of different rockets, because we like all sorts of different rockets and like to cover all sorts of different rockets here at NASA Spaceflight. But you can head over shop.nasaspaceflight.com. There's some links in chat where it says merchant next to it. It's just another great way to support what we do. But for now, I believe we are just about out of. Oh, no, we're good. Jack, thank you so much for my favorite view on launch day.
Hey, I know that line.
It's my favorite view, Sawyer. This is my
You can't
favorite
have
view
it.
on launch day.
Look, they're hosing it down, right? That's like a water hose there.
It is. Yeah, you're right. You can see that on the.
Don't call it a deluge system.
Don't call it a deluge system.
No, it's
neither.
not a deluge system.
But
I
that
can already
is
tell you that.
going to bring us, I think, to the end of our coverage. We're out of cameras to show you. Jack and Michael have to pack up, and they need to
I have been very gently asked to actually hurry tonight versus like my standard slow walk to get you guys to feed for as long as possible. So I'm going to actually hurry. Thank you everybody for watching. Thanks for the support. We love you. We'll keep doing it as long as you keep watching.
Good deal, Jack. Give us 60 more seconds, and then we'll just blame DOS. If somebody comes up to you, be like, oh gosh, the DOS guy, it's all his fault. Folks, if you're watching, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'll run through the folks that helped out with the screen really quickly as well. Alex, appreciate having you here. Alicia, thank you so much as well for joining us with the technical information. And Sawyer, thanks for helping out with the Q&A here as well. Jack and Michael out in the field, giving us the fantastic camera views. It was almost like the steel horse. What was the thing with the digging through the mountain or whatever? Like one's a human camera and the other one's a robotic camera, and they were both fantastic this evening. But across the board, you know what I'm talking about. There's a song about it. I don't know.
Oh my God, no! I swear to God, you read my mind. I literally had this exact thought. I had this exact thought earlier tonight. It's John Henry, the steel driver man.
Thank you. Yes.
And he fought against the robotic, like
Oh God.
like what do you call it?
Steam drill. The steam drill.
The steam drill.
Exactly.
And he fought against it, and he won, but he died.
Well,
and I
Jack,
don't know if it's apocryphal or if it's true, but oh my God, I had the same exact thought earlier this evening when Michael was setting up the robot. I was like, I gotta do a good job. What?
No one is gonna believe that you're packing up if you're yelling at us like this.
Okay, right, but no, for real, I have to do a good job because I'm fighting against a robot. It's modern day John Henry the Steel Driver man. All right, I gotta go. Bye.
All right,
Good job, Jack. We love you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, folks. We need to let Jack go, so that is going to be the end of the NASA spaceflight coverage here this evening. My name is John Galloway, shutting it down. Hope you enjoyed it. Oh, he just turned off the camera. We will see you nerds later. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
Chamber pressure looks good. Doubling up.
Water towers can fly! Yes!
Tango Delta nominal. By the downside, SCE off. Say again, SCE off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.